How are you guys doing? Today, decided to go live and talk about one of the biggest things that used to catch my eye even before I did credit repair, back when I was in debt collections. Something that I would always hear all the time was this, and that is don't ever pay debt collections. It's probably one of the biggest headlines I would see all the time. Before I was even in credit repair, when I was just cleaning up friends and I was heavily in debt collections, I would see that all of the time. And when I was in collections and I would see that across YouTube and places along those lines, I remember I would think to myself, why would they say such a thing? Or why are people saying that? And then obviously as I started to understand the credit repair business and seeing exactly why someone would say something like that, it made a lot of sense. Obviously at that time span, right? There is no one shoe fits all. The thought process to tell someone as a whole or to say don't ever pay debt collections is not a wise thing to say, because there are circumstances and situations that will cause for you, believe it or not, to have to pay it. And I'm not saying that because I've been in debt collections. I am in credit repair 100%, no longer in debt collections. I'm 100% on your side, but there are cases where you will simply have to pay debt collectors. So let's go into the first situation. The first situation is a person who is trying to buy a home and you didn't go to credit repair first and you're trying to buy a house, close on a house, get a house really soon. A lot of times when a mortgage lender looks at your credit report and they see certain types of debt on your credit profile, they will tell you to actually pay the account. And if it's with a debt collection company, you have to actually show that you paid it with the debt collection company. So in that case, it will make no sense not to pay on that account because you won't be able to buy the home, right? And so if you don't pay, one of the things that happens is I always see the people saying, don't ever pay a debt collection account. Why? Because it will not help you. The account will stay on your credit profile longer, all this other stuff, right? But they don't specify the situation with regards to if in fact your mortgage company that you're trying to be approved for a actual home tells you to actually pay it, right? So I currently have a client right now who is trying to buy a home, but he needs one account removed from his credit profile. And in that case, because he has a little bit of time, I'm disputing those accounts. But one of the things I do know is if a mortgage lender pulls your credit and finds out that you actually have accounts that are being disputed currently, they're going to tell you they're not going to be able to give you a loan until they figure out what has transpired with the outcome of that account. So it's very key to understand that. So do you ever pay a debt collector? Yes, there are cases where you're going to have to pay them, right? If you're trying to buy a home and you've already started the process and the mortgage lender looks at your credit and says, hey, you got to take care of these accounts in order to get approved for this loan, then in that case, you're going to have to pay. But that doesn't necessarily mean you can't settle, right? It doesn't mean you have to pay the balance in full. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It means that you can settle and make sure whatever it is that you do, make an arrangement with the collector that you get it in writing. When I worked in debt collections, there were so many consumers that I come across my desk and say, I took care of that a couple years ago. And then burden of proof is based on you as the consumer or the person who was in debt. And so if you don't have a paid in full letter, you don't have no record of actually paying, then you're going to end up having to pay it again. So if you do have to pay, make sure you get it in writing. I can't tell you how many numerous people that I've gotten on the phone who actually took care of the debt, paid the debt, never asked me for a paid in full letter, and boom, I never hear from them. Or what if the company no longer exists? You paid them, you don't have any proof, and when you try and go call the company and get the proof, the company's no longer there. Then you're going to end up having to pay it again, especially if you're trying to buy a home or improve your credit and so forth. Let me give you another reason why you might have to pay your debt. Guess what? In credit repair, as we are deleting accounts and disputing accounts on your credit profile, there are accounts at one point or another where they'll verify the account. And I'm not talking about the verify your account by just saying something dumb like, how they do it with an affidavit of indebtedness with just your first and last name. I'm talking about verifying your account with the actual signed contract, right? Then in that case, you may be subject to having to pay that debt. And that means you will have to pay a debt collector. So that's a few reasons with regards to that. I have to change the battery on my camera, so bear with me. I'm still here. So if you do come into this, you have a question, put it in the comment section. Alrighty, so ultimately, that's what it is. So there are times that you will have to pay a debt collector if in fact they have the account. But it's key to understand and know and make sure that they actually have your debt, so you're not paying somebody for nothing. And when you pay those accounts, I always recommend you pay with the credit card in case there's an issue. You can obviously do something regarding that, right? You can dispute the account if they don't provide the documentation or give you what it is that they promise they would give you. So if you're just joining, you have a question about credit or debt, put it in the comment section. No biggie with regards to that, and ask your question, and I'll actually answer those questions for you guys. Another thing, if you're trying to buy a car and you need a car right now, right? It just all depends on the timing with regards to what it is that you're trying to do, right? The quickest way to get something taken care of on a guarantee standpoint is obviously to pay the account. You pay the account, then you got to wait about 30 days. Typically 30 days, you'll get a paid in full letter or a settled letter or whatever it is, that documentation showing has been taken care of. And you're off to do what you need to do. And even when after you do it that way, like I stated so many times, I do a factual disputing. So if in fact an account is factually disputed, you can actually get rid of the account, even if you did pay the account, right? I have clients all the time where they've paid an account, but they had 30 days late. So not only is it showing as a charge off, but it's showing that it's past due, or there's a past due amount that's old, or you were late on some time or whatnot. That's an account that's hurting your credit report. And I still have the expertise with regards to getting that removed. So those are the three reasons. If you're trying to buy a home early and your mortgage company is telling you have to take care of these accounts within a month time span, or maybe 2 weeks, or whatever the circumstance is, chances are you may have to pay that debt. Trying to buy a car, and you know, they may tell you your credit's messed up, you need to take care of A, B, C, and D, and then you could do that, and I'll give you like 30 days to do it. Or if the account was verified, if you're disputing accounts and they actually verified it, but not verified it like how most majority accounts are being verified. I'm talking about with the actual signed contract that provides you with that information. But even if they provide you with that information and there's an inaccuracy on your credit report, you can still get it removed. It's just understanding and knowing what to do when it comes to that. So let's talk this month, right? The reality is this year has been flying by. I don't know how many of you guys actually agree with me with concern to that, but this year has been flying super fast. and crazy. And the reality is, this year has been flying, and I don't understand why it's been going so fast. We're almost in 2023, and I feel like we just started 2021, actually. But nevertheless, that is what it is. So if you're just joining, you have a question about credit, put that in there. I made the topic about paying a debt collection company ultimately right off the bat, just to give something instead of keep saying questions and answers. So if you do have a question about debt or credit, feel free to put it down in the comment section and I'll definitely answer those questions. I did go over the 3 ways or reasons why you may have to pay on an account, and that's if you're trying to buy a home at the time and the mortgage company, you're already in the process, and the mortgage company's like, hey, you got to take care of A, B, C, and D in order to get approved for this loan. Then in that case, you got to pay a debt collector if they have the actual account. Just make sure you get it in writing, whatever it is that you say or do, or whatever it is, especially if you're settling out an account, that you get it in writing. But understand, and it is true, once you do pay a debt, it does start that clock over. Now, when I say start the clock over, if you're making monthly payments, I'm not a big advocate of making monthly payments towards your debt, just because it starts the clock over. And then if you default and you don't end up paying it off, then that's grounds for them setting up that time to sue you and so forth. So if you are going to have to pay off a debt and you have to pay a debt collector, I would look at either settling or paying the balance in full, but always settle. Why not? Why would you pay the balance in full? Why not settle outside of paying the balance in full, right? You can save yourself money, and it will reflect as a paid in full count or a balance count, but that clock starts over, which basically means from the date of that last payment, 7 years, it will show that you had a collection account and it was paid or settled. But if there's an inaccuracy on that credit across the 3 credit bureaus, you can still get that account removed. And then obviously, you have the pay to delete. A lot of companies aren't accepting that. I know that there are some big creditors out there that do accept it. I think Midland Financial, if any of you guys have an account with Midland Financial, I believe that they, even online, they'll tell you that you can actually dispute an account that way. So if you are joining, feel free to put a question in the comment section if you do have a question about credit or debt, or even about life in general. I want to talk about credit and debt, and that's why I know a lot of people come to the channel and have watched some of these streams, but understand everything is set up that way. But like I was stating before, man, this has been. So if you have a question, put it down in that comment section. As soon as I see it, I'll answer it to the best of my ability. So like I was saying, this month is crazy. Time has been flying. And that is what it is. You know what's crazy about live streams right now, and I'll say this, and sometimes I'm guilty of it too. So on like Instagram and on Facebook, if someone goes live and you actually hit and go into the live with them, it brings your name up and it lets the person who's going live know that you jumped into their live and their name and so forth. On YouTube, when I stream and I go live, all it does is give me the number of people who actually go live. So it doesn't put your name out there with regards to that. So understand that, because I know sometimes, there's times I'll be wanting to listen to what someone's going on live, but then they don't have that many people on there, and I don't want them to single me out. Versus, someone famous, when they go live, it's so many people that, nothing ever happens with regards to that. But that's just the reality of doing it. I keep getting text messages, and it's from a group. So I am part of a networking group called Team. I should put it down in the comment section or whatnot. And it's pretty cool. It is a fee, obviously, to join, but They only allow a certain amount of people to actually join. They vet them, they check and make sure your business has the articles of information set up, all of that type of stuff, as well as they only allow one person per job. So if you go to this networking group, there'll only be one real estate person, one mortgage person, one person in insurance, one person like myself doing what it is that I do in credit repair, um, and so on and so forth. So that way you don't have like four people who are all doing real estate, and then it's sort of kind of pointless to join the group. The whole point is about adding, about networking and giving referrals and adding referrals and so forth. So I've been a part of this group for about, I think, 4 months, 4 or 5 months now. I love the group. I've gotten like 2 clients so far, but I've learned so much with regards to people's businesses and how to do things. And one of the things I like about the group, because you know how sometimes you're interested in a topic, let's say like life insurance, and you don't want to go and ask some random person who does life insurance about life insurance. You feel like you're sort of kind of wasting their time if you're not going to sign up. And so then, or you don't want to be bombarded with a bunch of calls and so forth. But in this group, it's set up that way where, unless you're wanting to be reached out to, they'll reach out to you, but they're not going to be trying to sell you. It's all about relationships and building a network, right? Your network is your net worth. Those people in those circles, typically, depending on who, you're around and who you're with, will determine that with regards to that. And today that group was actually meeting at 4. I live a lot further away from everybody, and I go live regardless of how many people are in the who show up or who come. I'm going to be going live because I want to help everybody out with regards to this. So let me talk a new topic, something that I am trying that's sort of kind of new. I'm a big advocate on trying things that can give me an edge. And for those of you who don't know, what I do have is Alpha Brain. How many of you guys have tried Alpha Brain? How many of you guys have ever had it? I got a 30 capsules. I wanted to try it and see how it works. I did use it yesterday. I didn't use it today, but I did use it yesterday. And it is sort of kind of cool because it's not caffeine. I'm not a person who drinks coffee in the morning. My wife does. Majority of people drinking tea or coffee. I don't drink and do stuff with caffeine as much at all, if not at all, outside of maybe a few sodas. But I tried this and I had it. So I took one pill on Saturday, and I remember feeling like my focus did get a little better, and just feeling like there was a time where I got in a zone. I took a pill on Sunday, and Sunday is believe it or not, a time where I spend with it's just me and my wife. We get about a couple hours where we're spending time together. And I remember I took a pill, just one pill. You're supposed to take 2, but I took 1. And I needed to do something. And I remember I was working and doing it, and my focus was crazy. And then I did it on Monday, and I took 2 pills on Monday. But for those of you who don't know, I try and wake up every morning at around 4 o'clock. And I do a thing called similar to Miracle Morning. If you don't know the book, Hal Elrod, he has the book called The Miracle Morning. It's just about setting your intentions in the morning and so forth. And because it was so early, I'm not sure how long these things last, but it feels like I get about 4 hours of where I'm like focused, and then it goes. And because I started at 4, by the time 8 o'clock hit around, I remember, being focused, when I worked out and I did all my morning stuff and morning routines and a little bit of work. And then if I believe it wear it off. And then today the plan was to take it at like 8, which is the power time for me. From 8 to like 12 is where I get a lot of work done. And I wanted to see if this was going to help me. So tomorrow I'm going to be taking Alpha Brain, and I'll see how it is. And then next Tuesday, I'll tell you guys how it is. But I only got, basically 15 days supply for it. And I just want to see how it works, man. See if it helps me focus. It does in that aspect, and that works out. But nevertheless, if you have a question about credit or debt, put it in the comments section. I believe that's what it's called on this, and I'll answer it with regards to that. But earlier I did talk about certain situations and circumstances where you will have to actually pay a debt collection company. My phone's going off crazy now, but where you will have to pay it. Like I said, if you're trying to buy a home and the mortgage lender tells you, hey, you want to get approved for this house that you love, you got to take care of those 3 accounts. We need you to take care of those accounts. And when they say take care of it, basically they're meaning pay it. And once you do pay it, you're gonna have to pay it, and that's just what it is. And then in that situation, that's a circumstance where you would have to actually pay a debt collector. So understand that, and as long as you understand that, you know that that is true. If you have a question, put it down in the comment section. I promise I will answer it to the best of my ability. So yeah, so I'm brand new on the Alpha Brain. It's something I've been seeing, because I do follow Joe Rogan, and I remember years and years back he was talking about it. I wonder if he still even uses it now. I wonder if any of you guys you ever use Alpha Brain. But yeah, so it was something I tried, something that I saw out there. I was like, you know what, let me try it. And yes, it does put you in a zone. It's caffeine free because I'm not a person who drinks coffee. Like I said before, I do drink tea, but rarely. But when I wake up in the mornings, I don't eat breakfast really. And I don't do coffee. My wife does coffee every single morning. She has to have her coffee. But I was trying to figure out something I can do to help me focus. And it feels like it helps me focus, and it lasts for probably about 4 hours. And so, because I'm up at 4 a.m., not every morning, but that's the goal, is to try and get up at 4 o'clock every morning. And I do a thing called, like I stated before, Miracle Morning. If you want to know more information with regards to that, there's a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Um, and maybe 10 years ago, maybe not that long ago, maybe about 8 years ago, I came across this guy, and it's about setting your intentions in the morning. So I basically get up. I'm supposed to drink a glass of water as soon as I wake up. No cell phones. So I know that's hard. Most of us, the first thing we want to do is go like this, right? Pick up your cell phone. But in my case, I wake up, drink a glass of water. I'll meditate. So I'll meditate for 10 to 20 minutes, depending on what it is. I'll either do a guided meditation or do a medication on my own. From there, I'll get up. I'll go do 100 push-ups in my living room. And then after that, I would run. So I'll run anywhere from a mile to 2 miles, depending on the circumstance and the situation, how I'm feeling. Sometimes I don't even run, but I need to get back on the running. I hate running, but nevertheless, run a mile. When I come back, I'll do some affirmations. So I'll listen to some affirmations while I stretch. So I'll stretch from head to toe, my whole body. As you get older, you don't want to cramp up. You better be stretching. If you ain't stretching, make sure you're stretching. And then I have I'll even take it a step further. So I have this. It's called the High Performance Planner, and it basically helps me start my day. And this book I got from a person that I followed. Brendan Brouchard was his name. But just to let you guys see, give you a little glimpse into it. But basically, let's say, for instance, on this day, I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me try and focus in on it. Hopefully it's not backwards, but in this book, you basically setting your intention. So right here it says today's message to myself, and then you have the morning mindset, and then it gives you some questions. One thing I could get excited about today. If one word can describe the type of person you want to be for the day, who would it be? Someone who needs me on my A game. A situation that might stress me out or trip me up today could be, and then you pick what it is, and then the best way to deal with that issue. And so it's just setting your intention, someone you can surprise with a note or a gift. It's a bunch of questions, like 10 questions, top 3 goals. Then you have the schedule. And then the cool thing about this planner, which is a high performance planner by Brendan Brouchard. If you guys want to know it, let me know and I could tell you what to do. I'm not sure. I paid for a year of these books. But the cool thing about it is Not only that, but then you have a evening journal. So you actually get to journal a moment that I really appreciated today was a situation or a task I handled well was something I realized or learned today was. And you go through all of this and then you basically rate yourself from a 1 to 5, 1 being bad, 5 being good. Clarity. I knew my why and lived intentional today. And then you put a point there. And so that's one of the things that I do or I try and do every single morning. And then journaling. Journaling. Oh, and then another thing that I do as well. So journaling, just writing what's going on my mind, how I'm feeling, how things are going. And then the last thing that I do, and I hate to call them standards, but I write down 10 times. And this is something I'm trying to do. Eventually I want to get to the point where I'm doing it every single day. But it's basically like an affirmation from myself. And I'll share it with you guys. Mine's is I am Jermaine McNeil. I own 300 properties and 30 businesses, which produce $40 million a month in passive income. I'm nowhere near that. I believe I can get there, and that's what I write down. So it's just about programming your mind, right? And in that. So if you're cleaning up your credit, I don't care whether you clean up your credit's bad and you're trying to get your credit cleaned up, or you're in a situation where you're trying to get a job, or you're trying to do whatever the circumstance is. If you don't believe it here, it'll never happen. So I'm a big advocate on working on the mental aspect of things to help you get to the next level. And I'm always trying stuff. So that's why I have the Alpha Brain. That's why I do the Miracle Mornings. And then obviously I'm an entrepreneur. So I have the credit repair business that I'm growing out, as well as I mentioned to you guys, but I'm doing coaching. I'll be doing some coaching too. And in the coaching, it'll be about finances, mental stuff, all the stuff that I've learned that has helped me get to the point to where I am today and helping other people. And so with clearandstrategic.com, that is, if you go to that website, you will be able to see my coaching and everything with regards to that. If you want credit repair, go to askadebtcollector.com, sign up for a 20-minute consultation. Same situation with regards to the coaching. And with the coaching, I will tie in the credit repair if you're a person who needs that. So that is what it is, as in a nutshell. Every single Tuesday, I plan on going live. I probably need to get set it up. The topic today was should you pay a debt collector? And so, obviously I've talked about some other things concerning that. I'll go anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the engagement and what's going on. But I will go on here regardless, right? This is part of the process, understanding that right now, as I look, there were 1, 2 people, 3 people at the max is where it got to, and they left. But that's okay. That's part of growing, right? If I don't do this, I can't get better. And the awareness with regards to the knowledge and stuff that I have won't be there. So if I don't go live ever, because I'm afraid, if you're out there and you want to go live and because you're afraid, then no one's going to look on the live and you're going to feel embarrassed. Who cares? Everyone starts at 0. I've seen it. I've seen people talk about when they're performing and they perform for 5 people and they would go with all the same energy as if 1,000 people were in there or 20,000 people were coming to see them. And that's the reality of it. And so as much as psychologically it may bother you because no one's in the live, they're going to see it. People will see it. People will join. And the people who hear and see what's going on will revive with regards to that. So I got about another minute that I'm going to go live because of the topics. I'm not getting any comments because obviously no one's in the live now. But as time progresses, I know eventually as this builds, I'll be going live and there'll be tens of thousands of people watching. So that is what it is concerning all of that. So I got about another 30 seconds unless somebody hops in here and asks a question. I will end the live in 30 minutes. But to recap, there are times where you're going to have to pay a debt collection company. But it depends on your situation. For those of you who can be patient, do the work, You can save yourself a lot more money in the long run, right? You know, I come across a lot of clients, a lot of times they'll have 4 or 5 accounts and they'll just pay them all off. And there's nothing wrong with that because you owe it, but understand when you do pay it off, you can't get your money back. And those accounts will stay on your credit profile for 7 years after that last payment that you made on that account. Thank you guys for those of you who did join the live. I am going to end the live here in 30 minutes, like I stated before. Next Tuesday, I will be here, so feel free to join.